This is the story of three trees on a hill, wanting to be totally different individuals. And once upon a time, the trees were talking about their hopes and dreams, and what they want to be in the future. The first tree said,
Someday, I hope to be a treasure chest. I could be filled with gold, silver, and precious gems. I could be decorated with intricate carvings, and everyone would see the beauty.
The second tree spoke.
Someday, I will be a mighty ship. I will take kings and queens across the waters, and sail to the corners of the world. Everyone will feel safe in me because of the strength of my hull.
Then lastly, the third tree talked.
I want to grow to be the tallest and straightest tree in the forest. People will see me on the top of the hill and look up my branches and think of the heavens and gods and how close to them I am reaching. I will be the greatest tree of all time and people will always remember me.
Years passed. The rain came. The sun shone and the little trees grew tall. One day, three woodcutters climbed the mountain. The first woodcutter looked at the first tree and said,
This tree is beautiful. It is perfect for me.
With a swoop of his shining axe, the first tree fell.
Now I shall make a beautiful chest. I shall hold wonderful treasure.
The second woodcutter looked at the second tree and said,
This tree is strong. It is perfect for me.
With a swoop of his shining axe, the second tree fell.
Now I shall sail mighty waters,
thought the second tree.
I shall be a strong ship for mighty kings.
The third tree felt her heart sink. When the last woodcutter looked her way, she stood straight and tall and pointed bravely to heaven. But the woodcutter never even looked up.
Any kind of tree will do for me,
he muttered. With a swoop of his shiny axe, the third tree fell. The first tree rejoiced when the woodcutter brought her to a carpenter's shop. But the carpenter fashioned the tree into a feed box for animals. The once beautiful tree was not covered with gold or treasure. She was coated with sawdust and filled with hay for hungry farm animals. The second tree smiled when the woodcutter took her to a shipyard, but no mighty sailing ship was made that day. Instead, the once strong tree was hammered and awed into a simple fishing boat. She was too small and too weak to sail to an ocean, or even a river. Instead, she was taken to a little lake. The third tree was confused when the woodcutter cut her into strong beams and left her in the lumberyard.
What happened? All I ever wanted was to stay on the mountain top and point to God.
Many days and nights passed. The three trees nearly forgot their dreams. But one night, golden starlight poured over the first tree as a young woman placed her newborn baby in the feed box.
I wish I could make a cradle for him,
her husband whispered. The mother squeezed his hand and smiled as the starlight shone on the smooth and sturdy wood.
This manger is beautiful,
she said, and suddenly the first tree knew he was holding the greatest treasure in the world. One evening, a tired traveler and his friends crowded into the old fishing boat. The traveler fell asleep as the second tree quietly sailed out into the lake. Soon, a thundering and a crashing storm arose. The little tree shuddered. She knew she did not have the strength to carry so many passengers safely through the wind and the rain. The tired man awoke. He stood up, stretched out his hand, and said,
Phew.
The storm stopped as quickly as it had begun, and suddenly the second tree knew he was carrying the King of heaven and earth. One Friday morning, the third tree was startled when her beams were yanked from the forgotten woodpile. She flinched as she was carried through an angry, jeering crowd. She shuddered when soldiers nailed a man's hand to her. She felt ugly and harsh and cruel. But on Sunday morning, when the sun rose and the earth trembled with joy beneath her, The third tree knew that God's love had changed everything. It had made the third tree strong. And every time people thought of the third tree, they would think of God. That was better than being the tallest tree in the world. So the next time you feel down, because you didn't get what you wanted, sit tight, and because God is thinking of something better to give you.